Welcome to My The Asshole Podcast. Let's get into it. Welcome to Am I the Asshole Podcast. Today is Thursday, and man, you know what we got on deck for you for Thursday? We have our book, Hooked. I am super excited for today's episode. When we left off, our girl Wendy, woo, yeah, She was learning some things about herself. Let's just say that. You know what I mean? Try to keep it PG around here, you know what I mean? But, you know, she was getting it in, you know what I mean? I want to say, you know, this was her first kind of, I guess you would say, you know, intimate experience. So, again, she was learning some things about herself. But I'm excited. We are going to be getting into the next few chapters of this book. I believe we'll be doing probably 15, 16. I might do 3 chapters. We might do 15, 16, 17, just depending on how long the chapters are. But we will be getting into at least 2 to 3 chapters today. And yeah, man, I hope you guys enjoy it. But before we do that, you know what we have? We have a thread. Our interesting thread of the day is, what made you realize this person just isn't for me? All right, so let's see. Okay. What made you realize this person just isn't for me? Was mean to my 4-year-old nephew. Yeah. You got to be good with kids, man. Honestly, it's weird because, like, I've noticed that that's kind of like, well, I don't know, maybe nowadays, because nowadays a lot of girls don't really want kids. They're kind of just like, nah, fuck that shit. But I don't know. In some occasions, yeah, like if you're really good with kids, you know, some girls are just like, yeah, that's the guy. But I don't know. Nowadays, I don't really think so, just because not a lot of women want kids anymore, you know, that I've known. Like, I've started to notice it a little more, like talking to a lot of different women. They're like, if I have kids, cool. If I don't, it is what it is, you know, instead of like, no, I really want to have kids. But, you know, hey. All right, what made you realize that this person just isn't for you? She admitted she used to talk softly so I couldn't hear her, while she knew I had hearing issues with really bad tinnitus. Oh, that's fucked up. She was talking shit. She was talking shit. That's what was going on. She was talking shit. She was just like, this motherfucker, don't dirty ass nigga. You know what I mean? Like, she was talking mess. That's crazy. All right, what made you realize that this person just isn't for you? We were engaged, and I got introduced at a party of work people as her friend. Oh, bruh. See, that's how you know. That's how you know it's over. You know what I mean? That's how you know it's over. Like, there's nothing. There's no coming back from that. You know what I mean? There's no coming back from that. Like, you're done. You're cooked. It's over. You know what I mean? You're cooked, bro. It's over. You're done. Yeah, I would have walked out right then and there. You know, if she drove, I'd have got an Uber. Like, there's no way I'm staying there and just being the friend. Fuck that. Oh, that's bad. That's all bad. Damn. All right. What made you realize that they're just not the one, right? I'm sorry. What made you realize that this person isn't for me? All right. He slept with my sister.
Bruh.
That's insane. That is insane, bro. Come on, man. And for me, it's not him. It's more of the sister. Why did the sister go through with it? You know what I mean? Like, she knows. She knows that that's her sister's boyfriend. Like, you know this. So why, what? Huh? I don't get it. I have no idea. How did my man must have just had like level 100 speechcraft to get that done. You know what I mean? Because there's no way, bro. There's no way. He had to do some like convincing. He had to like really, you know, just like talk her into that shit. That's wild, bro. That is wild. What made you realize this person isn't for me? He showed up to pick me up in a motorcycle. He had a helmet for himself, but not for me. He at no point mentioned he owned a motorcycle before the date. But, I mean... Okay, the helmet thing, all right, I understand that. 100%. But the motorcycle, girl... Why you lying? Huh? Why you lying? Yeah, I mean, why you out here lying? Because you know you like that. You know what I mean? You know you was like, ooh, that's sexy. A little dangerous. He got a motorcycle. That's sexy. Like, come on now. The helmet thing, I understand. Like, bro, if you're going to have a girl on your bike, you might as well have a helmet. You know, that's kind of 101 if I'm being honest with you. But yeah, no. Hey, come on, man. You know, yeah. She over here trying to cap like she was refusing a motorcycle ride. Girl, come on now. All right, what made you realize this person isn't for me? My feelings turned off like a light switch when he rejected my hug because it was at his place of work and his work crush was there. Yo, I broke up with him there. I didn't have no qualms, just done, over, not a chance at fixing things. Bro, woo, my man was just like, oh, hell no. Hey Kelly, what's up, girl? How you doing? Hey, what's going on? You need something? You got something going on? You know, that's crazy. That's on the same level of like when the dude was introduced to her work friends as, you know, oh, this is my friend. You know what I mean? It's the same level, bro. Nah, that's crazy. That's crazy. All right. What made you realize that this person isn't for me? I was going to my friend's punk show at a local record store / bookstore. He was driving and complained the whole way about how he didn't understand why I was wasting money on a temporary experience because it cost $8 to get in, mind you. He wasn't even going. Just dropped me off, so it wasn't like he was paying the $8. I tried to explain to him that it was just $8 and I was happy to support my friend. Plus, I'd get a night of fun doing something I'd never done before. Nigga, it's $8. It's 8 fucking schmeckles. You know what I mean? Like if you're so worried about your girl going to this, why don't you just go with her? It's $16. That ain't nothing. This some broke man shit right here. Yeah, you can tell. This is some broke man shit right here. Like, what the fuck are you trying to go to this thing for? It's $8. Yeah, like, nigga, get the fuck out of here, Joe broke ass. All right. Something I never done because he didn't want to. Okay. He just went on and on about how he didn't get why I wanted to do something that when I'd just been over in a few hours, or it would just be over in a few hours. He just kept repeating that it was temporary. I finally turned to him and said, life is a temporary experience, so I'm going to enjoy mine while I have it. When he told me that was stupid, I told him, we have different views on life. I think we're just fundamentally incompatible people. That was the moment it all clicked in my head that he was a broke nigga. No, I'm kidding. I added that on there, but come on, man. I think she looked at this like, bro, in her female hindbrain, she was like, wow, you're broke. You know what I mean? Like, bro, if you're stressing, okay, over $8, and I get it. He probably, he'd probably be, if I asked him, he'd probably be like, oh, no, it's not about the $8. Oh, it's about her being around other guys and this and that, blah, blah, blah. Then go with her. It's $8, nigga. You could spend $16 and you go with her. And then she can't meet these men's. Like, come on, bro. It make no sense to me. You just go with her, nigga. Like, what the fuck? He didn't really enjoy anything. He hated going to places because it was a waste of time and money. Told you, broke nigga. He hated staying home because it was unproductive. Wait, hold on. Come on, man. Pick a struggle, nigga. Do you hate going out or do you hate... Because me, I hate going out, but I love being at home. You know what I mean? But I'll still go out. Like, if my partner is just like, hey, let's do something today. I'm like, all right, for sure. I'll find something for us to do because I'm going out with her and we're going to go do something, And if it's $8, I'm definitely doing it because shit ain't $8 no more. You know what I mean? And stuff's not $8 anymore. Man, come on now. I'm just saying. $8 is chunk change. All right. He hated pursuing his hobbies if he couldn't monetize them. He hated socializing because he felt like it was a game where he had to choose the right response to level up the friendship meter. He didn't like food because he always chose food he actively hated because he only ate to maximize his protein and calorie intake. I didn't want to be with someone who made life itself seem so miserable. I see why you were with him. I used to be severely depressed and I couldn't feel myself being dragged back into this by his constant negativity. I know I couldn't spend the rest of my life like that. Yeah, you probably got with him because he was very attractive. Yeah, the whole calorie intake thing and protein, that tells me right then and there, my man's was built and he was built nice and you liked it. And I think that is what kind of kept you in the relationship for as long as possible. But I think over time, you were like, okay, on the outside, he's beautiful. But on the inside, this man is unbearable. Yeah, guarantee you that's what was going on. Guarantee it. All right, what made you realize this person isn't for me? When he hit his head against a brick wall because he was angry at me. Okay. Yes, man. See, that is a thing where I've noticed is a lot of women love like either three archetypes of guys. They like the dudes who enjoy punching shit or like self-inflicting, where either, they're punching walls, they're banging their head against shit. Or they like the drunk dude. Nigga's always coming home drunk and he's always drunk and doing dumb shit. Or they love the dude that just likes to beat on people for no fucking reason. They'll just get into a fight with somebody just because they're mad. I've noticed that those are the three archetypes of dudes that every girl will date at least once in their life. At least once. You can't get away from them. You're gonna date at least one of those guys. Some girls have dated all three of them. And yeah, they're probably lesbian right now. You know what I mean? Let's just keep it on dopey. They are probably lesbian right now because, god damn. But that's what I've noticed, man. That's what I've noticed, either just like out in the world in my own experience, as well as, the experiences that have been shared on this show in the year and 8 months I've been doing the show. Like, I've experienced a lot of that, and I'm like, whoo, yeah. You can kind of just generalize it into these three archetypes of guys that women typically will date at least once in their life. Man. All right. What made you realize this person isn't for me? When she went crazy and burned me with a blowtorch. Yo. What the fuck did you do to get burned by a blowtorch? What? I would love to know, because you had to have done some wild shit for her to go grab a blowtorch, turn that motherfucker on, and burn you with it. You had to have done some heinous. There is no way. You're like, oh, I didn't do anything. Nah, nigga, what did you do? What did you do? Because I want to know. I want to know what would push a woman to grab a blowtorch and burn you with it. I want to know. That's insane. Ladies, let me know what would a guy have to do for you to grab a blowtorch out the garage and you burn your dude. Let me know. I want to know, man. I want to know. What made you realize this person isn't for me? When he kept getting mad about stupid things, I didn't want to be with someone who got angry so easily. Yeah, see? Told you. That's that third archetype right there. The dude that just wants to be mad and get in fights with everybody. That's him right there. Goddamn. What made you realize this person isn't for me? He lost his erection during sex and flipped out to the point I felt unsafe. It had never happened before. I mean, maybe that's true. I don't give a fuck. I just think that's wild because that seemed like a really normal thing to me. Yeah, man, it happens. It happens. I mean, sometimes you're in the mood and then the mood just kind of dies out, or, Because you gotta understand this. When dudes are having sex, we have to think about like other things to kind of last a little longer. And so sometimes, say you're thinking about baseball, the baseball thoughts, you know what I mean, kind of like overpower what's actually going on. See, you got to walk this thin line, man, where, you know, you're balancing, you know what I mean? And if you balance a little too much the wrong way, you might nut. If you balance a little bit too much this way, you might get soft because you're thinking too much about baseball or whatever it is you're thinking about. You got to walk that fine rope of like, feels so good. Baseball. Derek Jeter. You know, nothing. You got to walk that fine line in order to just like keep everything on track. And, you know, sometimes it happens. It's happened to me before. It's probably happened to some dudes out, you know, listening right now. They're like, yeah, man, I was with my girl, you know, thought about basketball a little too much. And I was like, shit, you know. Yeah, and then, you know what I mean? You do a little something to get it back, and then you're ready to go. So she's totally correct in thinking like, yeah, it's normal. It happens. It's all good. And that's why he freaked out, according to him. He literally got up and got angry enough. He started kicking the door. What I tell you? Archetype number 1. Yep. The guys that just like to hit shit and self-harm. Told you, man. I told you. I told you. Hey, those 3 archetypes of guys. Women will date at least one of them. Sometimes all 3. You never know. Oh, man, to the point I was like, whoa, do I even like this person? It was like a veil was lifted, and suddenly I realized I couldn't stand all of his victim bullshit, and he was on all the time. Yeah, that sucks. Damn. What made you realize this person wasn't for me? Addictions, emotionally immature and unavailable, basically wasn't going to add anything valuable, but was guaranteed to take away or cause chaos from my current peaceful and good life. When I say valuable, it's not a reflection of their worth as a person, but they were certainly not in a place to be in a healthy, or to be a healthy candidate for a relationship. Yeah, but I'm sure you liked the way he looked, and he probably laid down pipe. And I mean, because sometimes with some girls, they you know, some women prioritize that. They like the looks of a guy. They're like, dang, that's that guy. Oh, he's beautiful. You know, maybe if I, you know, give him a little loving and give him a little attention or whatever, he might change and want to be that. And I always say it, man. I'm like, ladies, you'll never change a guy. The moment you get to know him and like how he actually is, you either accept it or you walk away from it, because you will not change it. You won't. You may change it for a month. You may change it for a couple months. You may change it maybe 6, maybe a year. And you may be like, you're wrong. But then he always goes right back. Always goes right back to the bullshit. Because it's only a matter of time. And it's never going to be a permanent change. So yeah. That's why I always tell them. I'm like, ladies, you'll never change a man. You just won't. All right, what made you realize this person isn't for me? She turned into a different person when she drank. At first, it was kind of fun. She was feistier and honestly more fun, but it started getting worse. She would share intimate details of our sex life, make fun of me in cruel ways, and the final straw was when she threw a dart at me. It wasn't an accident. She saw me standing between her and the dartboard, and I watched in slow motion as it flew at my face. Thankfully, I squinted hard enough that it just bounced off my eyelid, but that was it for me. When I got upset about it, she threw a drink in my face in front of everyone at the party. She moved out a few weeks later and took the dog. I missed that freaking dog. Yeah, facts. Why'd you take the dog? You know what I mean? Like, why'd you take my child? You know what I mean? Come on now. I would have fought her in court. Like, Your Honor, that is my dog. That's my child. All right? How dare you? Yes, that's crazy. See me, I can't do it anymore. I can't date the girls who are the fun party girls and shit. I can't do it no more, man. I can't do it anymore. Those girls they tire me out and they're boring. if I'm being honest with you. They're the type of chicks where they can only have fun if they're on something. They can only have fun if they're at like a party venue, whether it's a bar, it's a club, it's a this, it's a that. You know, those kind of chicks. I learned a lot, you know, through my dating experience, that for me, I like a girl that just likes to be at home. She wants to go out every once in a while. And when she wants to go out, you know, we're going to like an amusement park, or we're going to, you know, maybe like an outdoor mall situation, or we're going to a little nice restaurant. Or, you know, she wants to go like mini golfing or something. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't need all this craziness to have fun. She doesn't need to be drunk and this and that to have fun. She's like, bro, we can just walk around and what's it called? Window shop. And that's fun for me. We'll get a little ice cream. And, you know, like, I've noticed that because there's a lot of times that I've dated certain girls and they're like, you know, I would obviously plan the date and suggest things. And, you know, there was a time where I met a girl and it was awesome. We had met up, we did the coffee date thing, you know, got to know each other. Everything seemed pretty cool. We were texting for like 2 or 3 days, and then I set up a date for us. And then, we went, like, I guess you call it Top Golf. I don't know. I think it was called like a driving range or something. I don't know. You sit up on this thing and then you just whack balls as far as you can. And they have stuff out there that you can hit and stuff. I guess that's called Top Golf. I don't know. But we went to that and it was a lot of fun. You can have like food and drink and all that kind of stuff. And you know, you just whack the balls out there and see how far you can go. The crazy thing is like, she was bored. And I'm like, what? I'm like, how are you? You know, and I was trying to keep the conversation going, and I was trying to, like, you know, like, oh, let's see who can hit the ball the farthest. Oh, you know, let's try to aim for something, da da da. Or, you know, I was trying to spark conversation just through like, oh, you know, how's work been, this and that. For some reason, she was so bored. And then she suggested, oh, let's take shots and stuff, because they did serve alcohol. And I was just like, nah, I'm good because I'm driving. I don't really want to get drunk. And she's just like, oh, okay, well, I don't want to drink by myself. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, let's just say after that date, didn't call her back. Because it was like, dude, you couldn't just go to this, have a fun experience, play some silly ass games with me, have cool conversation, we eat some food, and make something of it. Like, and mind you, I mean, this wasn't like a cheap date. I spent like $300 on this motherfucking thing. Just the golfing alone, I think, was $60 a person. All right, $60 a person just to whack the balls was $60 a person. That's $120 right then and there, just to whack the balls. And then on top of that, there was food and drink. So the food and drink was at least another, maybe I would say about $20, $30 a person, you know? So your boy is already almost $200 into the date. And it was just like, bruh, you know? So it's not like I wasn't trying or I didn't put no effort into it. I planned everything, picked her up, all that good stuff. It was just like, I just noticed that those type of archetype of girls where they have to drink or they have to be in like a super exciting, stimulating all the time, you know, environment. Those are not the ones for me, man. Oh, and yeah, just can't do it. Can't do it. I think our boy experienced that. He was just like, yeah, them party girls, they're not for me, man. They're not for me because shit can get bad. All right. I'm going to do 2 more and we'll end the thread. What made you realize this person isn't for me? There are about 40 different things here, but I'll list a few. I'm so fat, fishing for compliments for the 1,000th time. And I said, well, maybe we should eat better. You could start jogging or something. And met with, that's just not me. Oh, God. Yeah, you could tell she's one of those girls that, you know, she likes the attention. You know what I mean? She needs the attention constantly. Having friends over for a game night, opening a closet in the dining area to have a landslide of papers, garbage, and diapers just comically fall out. That's insane. That means she didn't really clean anything up. She knew you were coming over and just shoved everything into a closet. That's crazy. Coming over weeks on board a submarine at sea and never being greeted at the pier, only to receive a text asking me to pick up a Baconator for her on my way home. That's insane. That's insane. When it took an extra 30 minutes of driving round trip to acquire said Baconator, and her being nestled in a couch den with a laptop and a dozen or so empty Dr. Pepper cans and bottles littered around her. That's insane, bro. That's insane, bro. God damn. And then his last one, her threatening to leave me over not wanting to do or buy things from time to time. This is actually what spurred the divorce. One last, well, if you won't even do these simple things for me, then why don't I just leave? And I just responded with thinking, yeah, why don't you? I think you should leave. Yeah, facts. That's insane. Especially the one where it's like you've been out for a long time. You know, you've been working and doing your thing. Like, this man was out on a submarine, no bitches, you know what I mean? Like, he's hard at work. Like, bro, I can't wait to get back to my girl. He's just looking out on the pier like, hey, where you at? You know, oh, I'm at home, can you pick up a Baconator? Like, that's crazy. That's insane. That means you didn't miss me, not think about me. You didn't give a fuck. You didn't even give a fuck about me. At that moment, I'd have been like, fuck your Baconator, get out of my house. You know what I mean? Yeah, fuck your Baconator and get out of my house, bro. Get the fuck out of here. All right, this will be our last one. What made you realize this person isn't for me? When I had to always either be with her or on a phone call with her just about every minute of my day. That's insane. That's insane. Like, look, bro. If you gotta be like that, you need to work on some shit. You don't need to be in a relationship. You know what I mean? You do not need to be in a relationship. You need to fix yourself. That's insane. To be like, want to have that much control in a person's life. Because for me, I've always said it. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and try to be like behind you all the time in my relationship. Nah, if you want to go do some shit and, you know, say I don't like it, and you want to do something, I'd be like, nah, go ahead, bro. But you're going to do it single. You know, because I look at it like when you're in a relationship, there's obviously things you can do and things you can't do. You can't do these certain things like, you know, going and doing whatever you want to do. You're in a relationship now. You have somebody else to kind of think about. And obviously that goes both ways. But it's like, my thing is, look, if you are so adamant about wanting to do that, cool. You can do that single, because I'm not about to be a part of that. I'm not even going to fight you on it. I'm not even going to deal with that. Like, there's just no point. Because obviously, you're telling me that you don't really respect the relationship. You don't really respect what's going on. And that's cool. That's totally fine. You know what I mean? Because my biggest thing is, like, I need the respect in a relationship. If you ain't giving me that, I'm good. I'm good on it. But you guys let me know what you think about everything in the that we've gone over in this thread. It was a pretty interesting thread, man. Woo! Been in some crazy relationships, man. Definitely bringing back some PTSD for me. So that's going to be the end of that thread, man. Let me know what you think about it in the comments, man. Do you have a situation where you realize, damn, this person is just not for me? You know, let me know. All right. Let me know down in the comments. But we're going to hop through announcements and we're going to get right on into the book. So patreon.com/Am I the Asshole Podcast. Get an exclusive episode every single Friday, as well as being able to send in your scenario to be featured on the Tuesday and Sunday shows. If you want to get a little sneaky-day, peeky-day of what we got going on the Patreon, I do have a free May Patreon episode that we did last Friday. Definitely check that episode out. You'll get a little sneaky-day, peeky-day of what the Patreon is like and what you'll be paying $3 a month for. We have over almost 100 hours of content over there. Woo! It is crazy. I have pretty much never missed a Friday. I think I maybe missed one because I was sick. I don't know. But if I'm being honest with you, like I said, we have a fuck ton of content over there, man. You're getting a great deal. So if you love what we're doing over here, you love what we got going on, all the scenarios and the threads and all that cool stuff, definitely head on over to Patreon, man, and check all that content out. All right? So audio listeners, Apple Podcasts, as well as Spotify listeners, go ahead and rate us 5 stars and keep downloading the episodes. I appreciate all of that, man. I really, really do. Seeing the numbers go up and see you guys interacting and all that good stuff, man, it's amazing. Checking out my analytics. We are worldwide. worldwide, baby. Call me Mr. Worldwide, dale, you know. I got people listening in Melbourne, Australia, and I got people in Manchester, UK, and, you know, Quebec and Canada, and all over the place, man. It's super cool to see that, and to see that the podcast is reaching people all over the world. That is super awesome. So I do appreciate all of that, all right? I really, really do. And if you want to help out even more on the Free 99 side of things, go ahead and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube to catch our live streams. I live stream regularly every Monday. So every Monday at 5 p.m., you will get a nice little stream, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, all right? So, if you want to catch a live stream of ya boy, we are playing... Oh, man, what are we doing right now? I don't know what we're going to be doing on next live stream, because last live stream was Outlast. We might be continuing Outlast. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, just check out the stream, man. Come by, say what's up. You know, type on in there, hey, how's it going? All that good stuff. So yeah, definitely come check us out, all right? So without further ado, let's get into Hooked. I believe we're going to be doing chapters 15, 16, and 17, all right? So let's get on into it.
15. James. The tea kettle boils on the stove and I stare at the backs of my hands as they grip the counter. What happened earlier with Wendy was unexpected. But Christ, the way she came apart under my fingers, the way she begged me to cut off her air supply and trembled beneath my touch had me dangerously close to losing control. And that is unacceptable. I'd love to deny it, but unfortunately knowing one's own weaknesses is paramount to overcoming them, and Wendy becoming a weakness is painstakingly obvious. Especially after I carried her off the sundeck to my personal quarters, and then proceeded to watch her sleep, enjoying the way her dark hair contrasted against the cream of my sheets. I glare at the tea kettle, irritated that she affects me so strongly, that she calls to my base urges, and brings them to the forefront, making me wrestle for control. With a scoff, I push the kettle off the burner, running a hand through my hair. I can do that for you, you know, Smee says, as he walks into the room with the remaining dishes from dinner. That won't be necessary, thank you. He nods, heading to the sink, placing the glasses next to the basin. She's a beautiful girl. Hmm? I ask, my thumb and forefinger rubbing against my chin. I said she's a nice girl. I turn, taking him in. Smee is close to my age and has been working on my boat since I found him on the streets next to the JR when I was 18, the weekend after I killed my uncle. He was homeless, begging for change, but there was a look in his eye. Something that told me he was dealt a bad hand in life and just needed a way to regain control after it had been stripped away. And that's something I can relate to. For weeks, I would visit him, taking small rations of money and warm food and clothes, watching from the sidelines to see if he was a byproduct of the drugs I funnel onto the streets, or if he was something else, someone worthy of a second chance. Luckily for him, it was the latter. When I bought the tiger lily with my parents' inheritance, the one that was kept from me by my uncle, I went straight to Smee and offered him room and board. A new chance, a fresh start, so long as he swore his loyalty and only worked for me. Outside of Rue, he's been the most constant thing in my life. Still, I keep him at arm's length, not allowing him to know about the darkest parts of my life. Anyone can flip if given the right incentive, and while I know Smee would follow me to the ends of the earth, I'm not willing to risk him being snatched up and spilling secrets that aren't his to tell. It would be a shame to have to end his life. I don't need you to approve of my conquests, Smee. Wash the dishes and keep my yacht in check. That is what I pay you for, I snap. Apologies, boss man. He nods and turns his back, focusing on the dishes in the sink, but his words have filtered through my already frayed edges. I know what a nice girl Wendy is, Her pure-hearted innocence bleeds from her pores like oil, shiny and impossible to look away from. Maybe that's why she calls to me the way she does, the pitch-black parts of my soul aching for her light. Heading back to my personal quarters, I remind myself of what's at stake. She's a tool, something to be used and broken, a means to an end and nothing more. And while I'm quite looking forward to enjoying myself with her, allowing these feelings to muddle up my insides will do me no good. My purpose reinforced, I slide open the door, steps faltering when I see her sitting up in the centre of my bed, hair a mess on her head, and eyes still heavy with sleep. A grin lights up her face, making my stomach tighten. "Hi. I was worried when I woke up all alone." I sit on the edge of the bed. "My apologies. I thought you might be thirsty, but then realised I'm not sure what you'd like." "Oh." Her cheeks grow round with her smile. "That's nice of you. For a moment I was worried I'd been kidnapped. Waking up in a strange room was a little disorienting." "Wonderful kidnappers to keep you in such high-quality sheets." "Well, you never know. They could have been trying to trick me into submission." My lips twitch, amusement bubbling in my chest. "Trick you?" "Yeah, you know." She moves a strand of hair from her forehead. "Stockholm Syndrome or whatever." My brows raise. "And you think you're susceptible to such a thing?" She nods. "I think we're all susceptible to strange things when our emotional and physical state are under duress." "Very astute, darling." Nausea churns in my gut. The back of her hands come up to rest against her cheeks. "I'm so sorry I fell asleep after... I didn't mean to." She shakes her head and a faint dusting of colour catches my eye. My arm moves forward to brush my fingertips along the pink marks gracing her neck. "Don't ever apologise for finding comfort with me." I remove my hand, blood rushing to my groin as I realise she bears my prints around her throat like a collar. "Is your neck okay?" Her hand moves from her cheek to her windpipe. "It's fine." "You're sure?" "It doesn't hurt." Her lips turn up. "It feels perfect." "It looks as though it may bruise." She shrugs. I lean in, tilting her head to the side and pressing a soft kiss to the prints. "I rather like the idea of you having a reminder of me on your skin." Her mouth parts as she sucks in a breath. I tip her chin and close her lips with my fingertips. "You can stay here if you like, or I can take you back to your car." "What time is it?" "Late," I reply. Her fingers twist in her lap. "I think I should probably head home. I have to work in the morning." I nod. "I understand, although I do wish you'd spoil me and stay." The car ride back to the Vanilla Bean is quiet, soft classical playing through the speakers while she gazes out the window. Again, I find myself appreciating all the ways she doesn't push for conversation, instead choosing to find comfort in our silence. There are not many people who can do that, and it makes my respect for her grow. I park next to her car, and this time she doesn't even attempt to open her door. Pleasure trickles through me knowing she's already doing as I ask. Once I open the door, she takes my hand and lifts herself out before resting her palms on my chest. "Thank you for a wonderful date," she says. "You can thank me again after our next one." My arms wrap around her waist and pull her closer. "You're so sure there will be one?" I grin, walking her back until she's flush to the side of the car. My hand leaves her waist, gently wrapping around her neck, my fingertips ghosting on top of the bruises. I tip her head back. "I've told you once before that I want you for myself." My lips brush against her jaw. "I think you'll find I can be very persistent." Her breath stutters, and a visceral want slams into me, my insides quaking with the need to dive inside of her, to feel her body mold around me as I destroy her from the inside out. I force myself to pull back, my fingers squeezing slightly before releasing. "What's your last name?" she asks. "Barry," I respond without thought. My heart kick-starts, lungs squeezing. I didn't mean to tell her that. It's too risky. Our fathers worked together for years, and I can't be sure she's never heard it. Luckily, she doesn't even flinch. The reminder of who she is filters through my veins like poison, anger slicing through the fog of her presence, and I regain the control I felt slipping away. Her hand rises to my face, fingers splaying under my eyes. "What was that?" "What was what, darling?" She shakes her head. "Something... Your eyes, they changed." "Did they?" I rock back on my heels, ignoring the way my stomach is knotting up tight. "Just hoping you'll put me out of my misery and agree to be mine." She glances at the ground before peering back at me. "If I'm yours, then what are you to me?" "Your worst nightmare." "I'm whatever you'll allow me to be." Her teeth sink into her bottom lip, and my thumb reaches up to release it. "Tell me you're mine, Wendy darling." "I'm yours," she breathes. Satisfaction races through my bloodstream, and I smile, leaning in and pressing my lips to hers, then helping her into her car. As soon as she turns the corner, my smile drops, cheeks aching from the show. But satisfaction flows freely through my veins, the taste of vengeance fresh on my tongue. 16. James. Giddiness flows through my veins like pixie dust flows through a junkie, my mind racing 1,000 miles a minute. I've been waiting for years to see Peter Michaels face to face, and the moment is finally here. Sooner than I originally anticipated, but welcome nonetheless. I wonder if he'll recognize me. I was often told growing up that I was the spitting image of my father, but I'm not sure how much truth there is to that statement anymore. Right after my parents' deaths, I remember sitting in our empty home, strangers attempting to comfort me as they asked what I'd like to pack, what I'd like to keep, as if my entire life could be summed up and shipped off with a few cases of clothing. I stayed silent, choosing to only take a small box of mementos, an old book of fables my mother read to me every night, and a single photo of the three of us, my mother, my father, and I. I kept them hidden underneath the bed at my uncle's, and at night when the grief would wind its way through my insides and wrap around my throat, making me feel as though I couldn't breathe, I'd take them out. I'd grip their still faces in my hand as I cried into my pillow, imagining my mother's voice reading me fairy tales with happy endings. But one night, shortly after my arrival, my uncle found them. I begged and pleaded on my knees like a pathetic dog, willing to do anything to keep what small pieces of them I had. But he didn't care about that. He didn't care for much of anything other than obedience and pain. And that night, he made sure I learned the meaning of both. He kept me on my knees as he promised to give me back my things, his thin knife nicking along my torso, causing beads of blood to spill, the sight making fear clamp down on my soul. He told me how he hated my father, how my face made him sick. And after he stripped away any innocence I had left, he burned every single item and laughed as I cried, shame and agonizing grief mixing together with the aftertaste of his vile pleasure. But my tears dried quick, and I vowed to never let them fall again. Over the years, I tried to hold on to their faces, to the sound of their voices, and the smell of their hair. But like all things, memories fade. The mind is far too easy to manipulate, even by our own subconscious. Fact becomes fiction, or at the very least, a warped version of the truth, and the past grows distorted and blurred. We're meeting him at Cannibal's Cave. Rue's voice snaps me out of my thoughts. My brows rise, surprised that's where Peter is wanting to meet. Cannibal's Cave is an abandoned cavern deep in the forest about an hour and a half outside of the city. The rumour is that it was used by the government back in the 50s to hold military equipment, but it's long since been abandoned. The random hiker goes by now and again, but for the most part, it's an empty space, too hidden behind dense trees for even the homeless to seek shelter. Rue grins, sitting back in his chair and lighting a cigar. So, where were you last night? I had the twins collect the new shipment. Thought you'd be there to inspect the product. My insides twist. I was indisposed. The twins can handle it. But they don't know weapons like you. Was there an issue, now that I know of? I nod. Well, if there's an issue, I'll see to it. Rue scowls, lifting the back of his hand up like he's ready to smack the air. The amount of disrespect that comes out of your mouth, kid, I swear to God. Oh, come now, Rufus. You're one of the only people alive that I do respect. He puffs on his cigar. Yeah, well, I didn't say it the other day, but thank you for the gift. I cringe, my stomach twisting. Now, don't go getting all weird on me, kid, he continues. Just let me say what I need to say. Sighing, I stand, walking to the globe in the corner of his office that houses the brandy, pouring myself 2 fingers and spinning around. The ice clinks against the edges of the glass. You're the closest thing I've ever had to a son, he says. My heart twists violently in my chest, my fingers gripping my drink so hard the ridges of the crystal imprint onto my skin. And I know you don't like the sentimental garbage, so I'll make it quick. We have a lot of enemies, and I'm just saying, he clears his throat, I'm glad you've got my 6, kid. The tendons in my jaw tighten as I clench my teeth, pushing down the knot of emotion lodging itself in my throat. I tip my drink toward him. Every night. And straight on till morning. He winks. The first and only time I met Peter was on a family vacation, which was actually code for my father, Arthur, having business in America. I never knew exactly what he did for a living other than he was powerful and everyone in London seemed to know and revere him. I knew he had a business partner here in the States, one whom he visited often, usually without us. However, this time, it was my parents' anniversary and my mother insisted we come along for the trip. It was the next morning at brunch, where I met Peter and his picture-perfect family. At the time, I didn't think anything of it. After all, I had parents who loved me, and I never wanted for anything. Still, for some reason, the strongest sense of urgency filled me when I saw him for the first time. I wrote it off as hating the Florida weather. It was too muggy and hot, too bright after a lifetime in the overcast skies of London. And then his beautiful wife walked in carrying a baby, couldn't be older than a year, and holding the hand of a young girl with brown hair and a smile that reached out and struck you with its glow. Their mother was pretty, but she paled in comparison to mine. Peter smiled and shook my hand, the soft skin of his palm making me feel important, respected. Stupidly, I looked up to him in the same way I did my father, and 2 days later, when we flew home on a Nev Airland private jet, courtesy of Peter Michaels, it went down in flames, crashing into trees and killing everyone on board, everyone except for me. I'll never forget the look on my father's face as he read the handwritten note minutes before, the one passed off by Peter himself. I had never known a living man could go as sickly white as a ghost. It's that image that haunts me now as we drive up the darkened pathway to the entrance of Cannibal's Cave. The crunch of the gravel underneath the tires echoes the feeling of my insides, knowing I'll have to hold myself together and not kill Peter where he stands. Starkey parks the car and leaves the headlights on, the only way to light up the black of the night. And there he is, leaning against a Rolls-Royce in a green button-down shirt and dark slacks, His men stand slightly ahead, and a stunning blonde woman is by his side. "You ready, kid?" Rue looks over to me. "Keep it cardio, yeah?" I lift my brows. "Of course, Rufus." "And don't call me Rufus in front of him, for Christ's sake." Rue steps out of the car first, and I follow shortly after, allowing the limelight to land on him as I slink behind in the shadows, not wanting Peter to see me just yet. "Rue, I presume?" Peter's voice sails across the air, making my stomach churn. Rue grins. "That's me. You would know that if you had shown up the first time." Peter inclines his head, his greying hair bobbing with the motion. "I apologize. I'm sure you can understand why I sent one of my men first. Privacy and discretion are of the utmost importance." I place my hands in my pockets, my thumb rubbing harshly against the wood of my knife, trying to drown out the thumping of my heart. "And who is this?" Rue asks, his hand waving toward the woman standing behind Peter. Peter glances back at her. "This is Tina Bell, my assistant." Her blonde hair is pulled back tightly, and she smiles and waves. "Tina, nice to meet you," Rue says. "Well, we're here. Talk to us." Peter's head cocks to the side, his eyes floating from Rue to Starkey, and finally to me standing in the shadows. "You have me introduce my people, but you don't give me the same courtesy?" He points to his chest. "If you're planning on us working together, respect goes both ways. There needs to be a level of trust." Anger burns deep in my gut. Trust. Laughable, really. I step out of the shadows and into the light, my hands in my pockets. "Trust is a funny word, isn't it?" I ask. Rue turns to me, narrowing his eyes. I grin at him and wink. Peter gazes at me for long moments, as if he's soaking in every single feature, and then his cheeks pale the slightest bit. "Excellent. After all," I continue, "we trusted that when someone of your caliber comes into our territory and requests a meeting, he would do us the courtesy of actually showing up." I step forward until I'm shoulder to shoulder with Rue, my hand white-knuckling my knife, trying to filter all of my rage into my grip so it doesn't show on my face. I've waited on this for 15 years, and I'm going to see my plan through no matter how much my blood is scratching at my insides, screaming to end him here and now. Peter licks his lips. "And you are?" I chuckle, glancing at the ground before meeting his stare. "You can call me Hook." "Ah, yes, Hook," Peter chuckles. "Your reputation precedes you." He tilts his head. "Didn't know you were British, though." I smirk, resting against the front of our car. Peter's men come closer, but he shakes his head. "Relax, everyone. We're all just businessmen having a conversation." His eyes sear into mine. "Isn't that right?" "I suggest you get to your point," Rue snaps. "You've already wasted enough of our time, and I'm liable to get impatient, quick." Peter's brows lift to his hairline. "Do you know who I am?" Rue cocks his head. "Are you suggesting I'm stupid? You come into my territory and think because your name is Peter Michaels that you can ask us to jump and we'll say how high, then thank you for the favor?" He shakes his head. "That isn't how it works here. You want to run for me with your planes and your ships, we can talk. I'm more than willing to strike up an amicable agreement. But don't think for 1 second that because you're a golden boy in the eyes of the world, that I'll give a damn here in my home." He points to his chest. "These are my streets, and everyone in them pays their dues. You get me?" My insides splinter at Rue's words, shock spearing my stomach like an arrow. He's considering working with him. After we agreed he'd say no. Peter's silent for long moments, before he rubs his chin and nods. "I'll run your pixie, and your weapons, but I want 50%. My teeth grind, and Rue huffs a laugh. 10. Peter smiles. 40. Rue's lips thin, his eyes growing dark. I think you got me confused, huh? I don't need you. That may be true, Peter nods, but you'd be a fool to turn me away. You may have runners, but none with my expertise, and none with a globally known carrier service that can enter any country at any time. He walks closer to Rue, and my spine straightens. All you have to do is say the word, and I'll pack your pixie and fly it to places you've only seen in your dreams. A ring interrupts the moment, and Peter pulls his phone from his pocket, glancing at the screen. Sighing, his body slumps. Unfortunately, gentlemen, I have to cut this meeting short. He looks up, his eyes crinkling in the corners with his smile. I promised my daughter I'd be home for dinner. My stomach somersaults at the mention of Wendy. I wonder how he would feel knowing that his daughter's cum was covering my fingers just the night before, that I held her life in my hands while she begged me to edge her on the brink of death. Peter walks forward, putting his hand out for Rue to shake. We'll finalize plans sometime this next week. Make the right decision, yeah? And then he comes to me. His charming mask slips slightly as he cranes his neck to look me in the eyes. Bile burns the back of my throat as I place my palm in his. His gaze is cold, calculating. Maybe one day you'll tell me your name. Anticipation slams into me like a battering ram, and a smile stretches across my face. I look forward to it.
17. Wendy. My father actually came home. 2 hours later than he said he'd be, and with a mystery woman attached to his side, but I'll overlook the details because having him here outweighs any of the negatives, even though he missed dinner. So, what is it you do for my dad again? I ask Tina, following them into the unused home office. She grins, grasping a folder under her arm as she makes herself comfortable on the dark leather couch. She's beautiful in a sprightly sort of way, slim and petite with a button nose and wispy bangs, but I can't help the envy that swirls deep in my gut, knowing she gets untapped access to my father's attention while the rest of us pray for a drop. I'm his right-hand woman. Your father would be lost without me. She turns to him, smiling, and he winks back. Gag me. Sucking my bottom lip into my mouth, I nod. Oh. She's my assistant, Dad chimes in. Is she the voice I always hear right before you rush me off our calls? I lift my brows. Lines form between his eyes, his lips turning down, and the little girl in me, still desperate for his approval, cowers at the stare. I'm sorry, that was rude. I rush out. It's hard with you gone so much, especially in this new place. He sighs, glancing at Tina and then back at me. Leave, Tina. Her eyes widen and she shifts in her seat. Peter, I need to speak with my daughter. Alone. Leave. She sucks in a breath and nods, setting down the folder that's on her lap and slowly making her way out of the office door, her eyes narrowing as they land on me. Bitch. I watch her close the door behind her before spinning to face my father. So, he smiles, walking to the front of his desk and leaning against it. What's new with you, little shadow? The term of endearment strikes out like a lasso, wrapping around my middle and tugging, nostalgia clawing at my insides. It's on the tip of my tongue to tell him, I'm seeing someone, you'd hate him. But I don't want to wade those waters yet. Still want to keep James to myself before I introduce him to family. I force a smile on my face, an ache settling heavy in my chest. Just working at the coffee shop and settling into the new place. Did you look around yet? His face softens, his eyes warming the way they used to. And with that simple look, my insides turn to mush, all my anger and resentment being drowned by the hope that flows through me.
Not yet, but you've done a nice job setting the place up,
he says. I wave him off. That was easy. John and I have just been trying to acclimate to the weather, to be honest. It's so different than Florida. Pausing, my fingers twist together, palms growing clammy because this is a nice moment, and the last thing I want to do is ruin it with questions and nagging. Still, the words flow from my mouth before I can stop them. When are you going to tell him? His hands rest in his pockets.
Tell him what?
I roll my eyes to the ceiling, blowing out a breath. You know what, Dad? Tell John about the fact you're shipping him to boarding school? He shifts, his palms coming up to rub at his chin.
Wendy, it's been 5 minutes since I've been home. I haven't even seen him yet. I'll tell him. Don't worry.
When? I repeat.
When what?
Frustration boils in my veins, my anger rising like lava, the pressure building in the center of my chest until it explodes out of me like a geyser. My fists clench at my sides. When are you going to stop by for more than a single night? I hiss. When are you going to realize that your children are here? My hand slaps my chest. We're right here, Dad. And you're... I wave my arm around the room. Everywhere else. You and Tina Bell.
Wendy, I
raise my palm. Don't. Please, just don't. I am so sick of placating words and empty promises. I am so tired of feeling like I'm failing John when it's really you who is. That's not fair to me, and you know it. A knot lodges in my throat. And I know you're busy. I get that. But damn it, just be here, Dad, like you used to. His nostrils flare as he straightens off his desk, walking slowly toward me. I lean back against the wall, sliding until I'm on the floor, pressing my palms into my eye sockets to try and stem the burn. I've never spoken to him that way before. Shoes come into my line of vision, and my dad crouches at my side.
Little shadow,
he sighs, slipping down next to me, his elbows resting on his knees.
I don't know what you want me to say, Wendy.
Just say you'll be here. The words stick in my throat, the hole in my chest throbbing. Say you'll start to make us a priority. He's quiet for long moments before his arm comes around my shoulders and brings me into his side. I bite my lip and swallow harshly to keep the sobs at bay. The last thing I want is to look weak in front of the man who's always so strong.
You're the most important thing in the world to me,
he says. Doesn't feel like it, I mutter.
You are. You always have been.
And John? I add, irritation slicing through the haze of his attention.
What?
His body tenses. You said I'm the most important thing in the world to you, but I'm not your only kid. You forgot to mention John. He clears his throat.
Right, of course. John, too.
Sometimes, I whisper, seizing my newfound confidence and running with it. Sometimes it feels like you've forgotten we exist at all. There's a tingling sensation on the top of my head as he presses a kiss to my hair, and I curl into him farther. Please tell him, I beg again. I don't want to be the one who does. He nods against me.
I'll tell him in the morning.
Blowing out a breath, I allow his words to wrap around me like a blanket, relief swallowing up the sadness, at least temporarily. But in the morning, he's gone, and John still doesn't know.
All right. And that has been Hooked. Woo! Hope you guys enjoyed today's chapters. We did a bit of 3 chapters. I believe it was 17 to... Was it? I believe it was 17 to 19. I believe so. Somewhere around there. Oh, man. But hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you're on Patreon, I'll see you guys tomorrow. If not, then I will see you on Monday for the stream. Love you guys all. I'll see you then, and peace.